What would it mean if we discovered that each moment of our lives is part of a conversation, an ongoing dialogue with the world around us as well as the universe that exists within us? What if the language of our conversation is without words as we know them traditionally? What if the alphabet of our lives is made of the thoughts, feelings, emotions, the perceptions and beliefs that we carry inside of us in each moment of every day? While we may not even be aware of our deepest beliefs on the one hand, on the other hand, they're the very blueprints for the success of our careers, our relationships, our art, our music and business, and on a larger scale, the blueprints for the healing and the peace that we find in our families and communities and between nations. If we assume that this conversation between us and our world is happening, is it possible that all of the wars and the hate, the disease, as well as the love and the optimism and the hope that gets us through each day actually are us trying to get our own attention, us signaling to ourselves in the only way that we know how, longing to be heard and acknowledged? From this perspective, our lives may not be so very different from the efforts of the youngest child in a family that longs to be heard. Just as that child tries harder and harder to get the attention of those around him or her, we should not be surprised to see our attempts to be noticed coming back to us in the world in ways that are less and less subtle. In this conversation without words, we must ask ourselves in the next question, do we even know what's being said? Are we aware of what we convey to our world through our actions and our beliefs in each day? If life is a language, what is our world saying back to us? What is your world saying to you? What are your successes, your perceived failures, the joys, and the frustrations saying to you about your deepest beliefs of yourself? In a world that so many feel is changing so very, very fast, the events of life, personally and collectively, may now be seen as a gauge of sorts, a feedback mechanism that invites us to recognize the message we're sending to ourselves. To participate in this conversation, however, we've got to understand the language. So for the next few hours, I invite you to join me on a journey. Together, we're going to discover the hidden relationships between what we often believe are the coincidences, the seemingly chance events that happen every day in our lives, and what those events may actually be saying to us about ourselves on a much deeper level.